Okay, so I want to take a couple minutes and actually talk about the one most crucial aspect, in my opinion, of a real estate contract and the thing that you really need to look out for as a purchaser, actually. It's the mortgage contingency clause. In plain English, what this means is when you buy a place, there's a clause in the contract that protects you if you can't get a mortgage. So the mortgage contingency clause essentially states that if you don't get a mortgage commitment from your lender within 45 days from the time the seller receives executed contracts, signed contracts, you're out. You can get your deposit back. Why is this important? Well, in the heyday of real estate in New York before the recession occurred in 2008, 2009, new developers were coming up with buildings left and right in Brooklyn, Manhattan, everywhere. And essentially, people were dying to get into them. And so the developers would say, well, look, it's totally fine. Anyone with a pulse gets a mortgage, so we're getting rid of the mortgage contingency clause. And that was fine because everyone that had a pulse actually got a mortgage during that time. But at a certain point, the music stopped. And when the music stopped, those people that didn't have a mortgage contingency clause essentially lost their deposits unless they had a huge amount of cash on the side with which to close these properties. That changed after the crash. Then developers allowed people to get mortgage contingency clauses, the same with sellers, because realistically, there's just no way around it. The market dictated the fact that these people would be able to get out of their contracts if they couldn't get a mortgage, because many of them weren't getting commitments from banks. And so that sort of played in. Now, it's 50-50 in 2014. Some developers will sort of try and compromise and say, well, if you use our preferred lender, we're okay with a mortgage contingency clause. Every single time I represent a purchaser in a real estate purchase in New York, I essentially demand that this is in the contract. I go so far as to ask for a waiver for my clients if they want to go forward without the mortgage contingency clause. The reason for that, again, is because it protects you. If you can't get a mortgage, you're out of the deal. You get your deposit back. There are very, very few instances where this actually happens, other than a mortgage that doesn't go through. In other words, you're probably not going to get your money back when you put a deposit down unless you do not qualify for that mortgage. There may be title issues and some other things that could come up, but this is the most important aspect of a real estate contract that you need in there. There's just no two ways about it. So I would absolutely encourage you, if you are purchasing real estate in New York, to speak to an attorney even before you find a place. A lot of my clients do the same thing because they want to get educated as to what to look out for in these things. Because once you find the place, you fall in love with it, you want to sign on the dotted line right away, and you sometimes go too fast. So it's important to take a step back, speak to an attorney, or a few, doesn't even matter, and understand what's in that contract and what protections you get. Any questions, please feel free, email or call. Thanks.